Here to talk more about Ken Dryden's legacy is hockey historian Liam Maguire. Liam, first off, thank you for being here. Talk to us about Ken's accolades on the ice.
Well, some of it you've already covered. He is regarded as one of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Of that, there is no doubt. He broke onto the scene as an unheralded 23-year-old rookie, not even really fully a rookie because he only played 6 regular season games before embarking on the 1971 playoffs, where he played 20 and backstopped the Canadiens to a Stanley Cup, including Jean Beliveau's 10th and final one as a player. So that was his introduction to most of us in the hockey world. He then followed that up with such an eclectic, like just an absolutely unbelievable career, because at the height of his powers, he got into a contract dispute with legendary general manager Sam Pollock and took leave of the game for an entire season, articled and pursued his law studies and career, if you will, and then came back when him and Sam mended the fence, and then backstopped the Canadiens, not the first year in 74, 75, but the subsequent 4 more Stanley Cups. And I think one, I don't want to get lost in statistics, but one key one to me, when he sat out, the year before, the Montreal Canadiens allowed 180 goals against. The year he sat out and 3 goaltenders tried to carry the load, Michel Plasse and Bunny LaRock and Wayne Thomas, the goals against went from 180 to 240. That really statistically pretty much says what the value of Ken was to the Montreal Canadiens at that time. So statistically, no equal, largely because, not largely, but in part because of the dynasty that he played behind. He was a key part of that dynasty.
Now, Ken retired at the peak of his hockey career to pursue law and politics. What do you think people will remember about him off the ice?
I just want to clear up something. He retired at the age of 31, and I think in part that year he took off did take a toll on some of his athleticism. The Canadiens that was the greatest team in NHL history in 76, 77, and they were part of that 4-year run. And as I just stated, he was part of it. In that final season, 79, Renee, to be honest, his skills had diminished. The team was starting to wind down. They lost some other key components. And I believe he saw the writing on the wall. And then when he left the game and authored that first book, The Game, it's regarded in hockey circles as the definitive go-to if you want to really get into the intricacies that happened off the ice, in particular, with an NHL team. It would never been written anything to that level of academic, just in terms of detail, in terms of the depth of it. And that really set the table for what he would become off the ice and post-career in terms of an author and then politics. You've just touched on it. You touched on it with the previous interview, his friend Scott Reed, talking about running for the Liberal Party, being an honorable member of Parliament, being a senator, all of those ingredients, not the least of which is his advocacy that he took across our great country, is so much a part of who Ken Dryden was, not just the phenomenal goaltender, Hall of Fame goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, but a legacy unto itself off the ice. It's really incredible, just an incredible, incredible life.
How do you choose where Dryden made his biggest mark? You mentioned the word legacy. What do you think that will be?
Listen, you're talking to a hardcore hockey guy here. I'm not going to ever say that it's anything number one but hockey. And if I got to say, I would say the third period of Game 8, 72, September 28, 1972, the third period of Game 8, those guys, to a man, went in the dressing room and said, Ken, if you don't let in another one, we're going to win this game. They were down 5-3. Got to remember, the Soviets had 4 leads in Game 8, 4. And we overcame every one of them. And a couple of those early goals, those bogus power play goals, because those referees were bought and paid for, Ken stood tall when it mattered most for this country in the third period of Game 8, 1972. Yeah, he's got the 6 cups, the Vezinas, the Hall of Fame, the stats. But in 72, because that is a legacy series for the sport, and he was the winning goaltender in the final game. He also was the first star in Game 6. And I want to say something else. He's been so maligned for his play against the Soviets when he had a .500 record against them throughout his career when he played. Was it an 890 clip or a 790 clip compared to his NHL career? No. But when it mattered most, Ken was in the net and got us wins. And he got that win in Game 8, and he did not allow a goal in the third period. And Yvon Cornway made it 5-4. Phil Esposito 5-all, and then the greatest goal in the history of the sport, Paul Henderson with 34 seconds to go. And Ken raced the length of the ice to hug him. And then he realized, damn, man, there's 34 seconds to go. I got to finish this game. To me, that's his #1 legacy.
And quite the legacy it is, Liam. Thank you very much for your time. That is Liam Maguire, 4-time published author and hockey historian.
Thank you.